without further ado, we are now pressing the wrong button. Tony Giordano from Giordano Global Coaching. We're so lucky to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think it is that one, yeah. How's everybody doing? Yeah. That's pretty good. I think you could do better. How you doing? Yeah. So guess what most agents hate more than anything? Goal setting and business planning. And that was the topic chosen for today. 80 registered. Where are they? Because it's business planning. And no one wants to do business planning. So my business planning clinic is usually 6 hours. It's a full day. There's lunch, you're sitting down, you're going through the workbook, you're literally building out your GPS or your main goals for 2023. But we're only doing a short segment, and what we decided to do was, because we're going into 2023 and there's a lot of uncertainty in this market and what's going to happen in 2023, that it was better to just show you and provide to you the template for you to go back home tonight when you can and actually start filling out everything I'm about to kind of teach. Before I begin, who was here a couple months ago when I spoke for this same event in this room? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that one we went into the shift, and it's a presentation of mine called Shift Happens. And I went into all the different factors of becoming shift-proof, recession-proof, and what to expect in 2023. I'm going to share a couple of those things, because how can you plan your 2023 if you're not researching in what to be prepared for? A lot of people will create these amazing goals, but they're taking no consideration into what might happen in the next 12 months that will significantly hurt the goals that they're setting. It's going to make it harder. So you need to start with preparation. So it's a new year. Are we ready? Today, business planning, building, setting, and implementation. What is my background for those that don't know me? Grew up here in Santa Barbara. Last name is Giordano, not related to the Giordanos, food trucks, but I do know him very well. Went to Santa Barbara City College, went to UCSB for as long as our videographer did. Decided not to, and was kind of just rebelling. I worked at Santa Barbara Hospital. I was with Santa Barbara County Sheriff Search and Rescue. I'm a medic. I'm also a firefighter in LA County that I've been for 20 years, but I stayed a reserve because my mortgage career took off. And in 1998, I walked into a mortgage company to sell them cell phones. I was trying to save up enough money to put myself through the fire academy. Walked into this mortgage company. Branch manager offered me a job, and I became a mortgage broker, doing loans. Instead of selling phones, I was selling loans. And my career took off. And after September 11th, the fake housing market was born. The fake economy was born. September 11th was the birth of everything that came crashing down in 08, 09, which some of the slides will show you. So when this happened, after making millions as a mortgage broker through my 20s, I lost everything in the crash. Divorce, cars, boats. Yeah, I literally lost everything. Went from an 812 FICO score to 496 in less than 9 months. 19 foreclosures on my credit report. As I said, divorce, youngest son's diagnosed with autism. Everything was gone. And I was living in Malibu, so that was the last place that you wanted that to happen. I had to reinvent myself. So throughout 08, 09, I kept losing my passion for lending. Like, it just wasn't fun anymore. No one could fund a house. No one could get financing. Obviously, we have a lot of people who can't get financing now because of interest rates, but back then it was because everything was just falling apart, right? Who was in the 08, 09 crash as a seasoned agent already in the business? Okay, so you remember everything that happened that year, and there's people still digging out of that hole that happened. Well, finally, October of 09, I said, I'm done. I can't do lending anymore. It's not fun anymore. So I decided to switch to the sales side. Called all my buddies who sent me all their clients for loans in LA, all the real estate agents, and said, hey, I'm switching to your side. Gave my license to a real estate office, and I was an agent. And within 2 months of doing things online that no one was doing with SEO, social media, Facebook marketing, I exploded, started getting multi-million-dollar listings throughout Los Angeles and Malibu. That fired me up to really go in all that I could with everything that has to do with online marketing. And even though today is not that topic, it might be soon when I come back for another one of these, and we'll go way deeper than what he went into with video and the next evolution of building a digital and virtual business, which agents need to take seriously now. That led in 2010, going into 11, writing my first book, The Social Agent. Social Agent became a bestseller. I decided to become a coach, launched my own coaching company, and the rest is history. Rebuilt everything I lost, and travel all over the country, speaking in front of 18,000 people last week, speaking in front of 18 people this week. You know, it doesn't matter. If one of you had showed up, I'm going to give it my all, because my passion is teaching. My passion has always been coaching people to get to the next level and simplifying it. So that's my little background. Based in Westlake Village now. I just moved there from Brentwood. We're up here all the time, especially in Santa Ynez. And you'll probably see me out and about, and I have a ton of real estate friends in this town. All right, because it's 18 people, it's my favorite. I love these smaller group masterminds because I allow for interruption. If I say something and you have a question, just blurt it out. Let's mastermind together. Let's talk about it. I want to hear from you, because I can go down any hole that you want to go as we're talking about all of this. I emailed a template to Robert for all of you. So he's going to email you all that template that I'm going to be showing in these slides for you to work on your own goal setting later. Okay, make sure you take notes if you can. Obviously, that's the memo pad on your phone logo, because I know a lot of you don't have pens and paper, but some of you do. So make sure you take notes. What to expect in 2023? What are some of the things you expect in 2023? Just share.
Confusion.
What was that?
More confusion.
More confusion. I like that. What else?
Higher interest rates.
High interest rates staying or even going higher? Higher interest rates. So more confusion, higher interest rates. It's sounding like an amazing year ahead, right?
It might be lower.
Might be lower. Yeah, we might go from 6.9 to 6.4, right?
The track we're on now, I expect certain things, but a lot of it's predicated upon what occurs next week.
Say that again?
A lot of things that I'm thinking might happen depends on what happens next week.
Yeah, with the Fed and what his next move is? The election. Anything else that could?
I mean, I expect a strengthening downward trend in one case and a potential return to some optimism in another case.
Sure. Anybody else?
How about the war?
The war, obviously that has already had it, has made a toll on a lot of different countries, including ours. Well, let's see here. So let's go down a couple things that online dominance, Zillow, Quicken, Rocket, Progressive, Amazon, they will continue to build massive, massive dominant platforms. They will take advantage of the housing shift and the economic shift that is coming to continue getting rid of the smaller people and the smaller businesses who don't have business planning or structure in their business and running it like a career. They will literally start to dwindle away because the big powerhouses are going to continue to throw in a ton of money and change. A lot of people don't take Zillow as serious as they should. Still to this day, I'm shocked how many agents think that Zillow's not a big deal, like we're the MLS, who cares, their leads stink. Like, the consumer trusts Zillow, period. And the more Zillow does to dominate, the more the consumer is going to rely on Zillow. That is why Zillow came out with Flex. Who has heard of Flex? Flex is what I told everybody 5 years ago Zillow would eventually come out with, and no one believed me. I said it in the first book. Now it's Social Agent 2.0, and I'm about to come out with 3.0. That eventually Zillow would start getting calls from consumers, not leads, calling them as if they're a broker. Why? Because they're dropping $100 million on a Super Bowl commercial. And until somebody else can do that, they win, because they're willing to put that money into marketing. So there you are watching the Super Bowl, and this sweet old lady is walking down a sidewalk with this young man towering over her, and he walks in front of the house, and he goes, "Look, Mom, look what we just got." And she's like, "You just bought another house?" "No, Mom, look what we got you." Zillow Group. Yeah, until you can compete with that, sorry. And so as they dominate, they will change our industry even more than they have already changed it. So what does he do? He comes out with the referral program. People who call in and say, "Hi, Zillow, I need to sell my house, and the agent who helped me 25 years ago, she's no longer in the business. Can you send one of your agents?" "Well, I'm sorry, miss. We're not a brokerage, so we don't have Zillow agents, but we do have agents on standby from various brands that are here to help you." And then they call you and say, "Hey, here's a referral. This person needs an agent, and you're going to pay us 35% referral fee." You would do that if an agent referred you that deal. Why can't Zillow refer you a deal?
After paying them $2,000 a month?
After paying them $2,000 a month, because those are just leads. Those are just people on Zillow saying contact agent. That's a lead. That's not a referral. But if Zillow gives you, now, who can be on Flex? Only people Zillow says to be on Flex. Usually very seasoned agents who they know can convert the referrals that they give them. Realtor.com's version of Flex is OpCity, who Realtor.com purchased. Any of you in this room can actually reach out to OpCity and your broker and say you'd like to start getting referrals from Realtor.com. These are not leads. These are people who are actually asking Realtor.com, "Please give me an agent," and putting them in touch with you. But again, you have to pay a 35% referral fee. So why is all of this going to continue to dominate? What happened to the travel industry in the early 2000s? They went online, or they were wiped off planet Earth. Every brick and mortar travel agency literally closed their doors because of a guy who worked with Bill Gates in 1996 at Microsoft as one of Bill's executives, and his name was Rich. And Rich decided to go out on his own and launch a website called Expedia. He launches Expedia, and within just a handful of years, completely changes the travel industry forever by simply giving consumers access to information they had never had access to before, that they used to need a travel agent to tell them, "Don't stay in room 201 at this resort because there's a palm tree that blocks the view." I needed a travel agent to tell me that. But now I just see consumers saying it on Expedia.com. So then within a few more years, it was done. Travel industry was changed forever. 90% of travel agents were now selling houses or nutrition of some sort. It was done. It switched so fast because he was focused on the consumer, not travel agencies. The travel agencies that survived, they adapted. They became partner affiliates of Expedia so that when people were on there and they want to talk to a local travel agency, they can. They worked with Expedia. Instead of trying to fight the giant, they embraced change in the giant, right? And then some powerful, bigger companies who had better technology, more consumer-friendly interfaces, who wanted to compete with Expedia and take them out. What were some of those big ones that came that were just way better? Travelocity, Orbitz, Trivago. And what did Rich at Expedia do at that moment? Bottom. Expedia owns Travelocity, Expedia owns Trivago, Expedia owns Orbitz, and a couple others. Because hey, if we can't compete, we'll just buy you, because I'm the one that has the billions before you to do it. Well, we're not for sale. Yeah, you are. Everybody's for sale. Well then, by the late 2000s, he goes, oops, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to completely change your industry forever and wipe out so many jobs of complacent travel agents who are no longer willing to innovate for their consumer base. But now that I know that I can, I think I'll hop on the board of directors of my friend's company and help him do the same thing to the video rental industry. So Rich, exec with Bill Gates, founder of Expedia, hops on the board of directors of Netflix. Once again, gives consumer access to information they've never had access to before from the convenience of their fingertips. And in less than 5 years, crushes a multi-billion-dollar brick-and-mortar corporation called Blockbuster and every mom-and-pop video store besides them. Same dude. So, would you say Rich is a very smart guy? Yes or yes? Would you say he knows how to change an industry forever? Yes. Would you say he's really good at it? Yes. Well, guess what Rich's last name is? His last name is Barton. Sound familiar? Because he's the founder and owner of Zillow. Same dude. I am shocked how much of our industry does not know this still. And as giants rose up on him with better technology, more consumer friendly, called themselves the Zillow killer, what did he do once again? Bottom. Trulia, Homes.com, apartments, national mortgage companies, Street Easy, because New York City will never allow Zillow. Well, what do you guys have? Street Easy. We'll just buy Street Easy. And now New York City's on Zillow. They're not going anywhere. So how do we embrace it? We have to be willing to have it in our business. We have to not tell consumers don't use it. Use whatever you want, just text me the link when you want me to find out how to show it, right? We could beg our clients to use our app, right? They're never going to. They're going to do what their friends do, and everyone uses it. They have 150 million visits a month now on Zillow in the United States. 150 million. The national population in the United States is 300 and something million. The rest are just children that don't need to be on Zillow. So they pretty much just have all the adults. So look for big, big announcements and them continuing to evolve in 2023. The rise of B2B. A business-to-business business with things like Zillow, Flex, Realtor.com's OpCity. There are brokerages I know that this is all they do, is B2B. And so what B2B and what I'm seeing from companies that are growing extremely fast in this nation right now in our industry, one in particular, JMG, Jason Mitchell Real Estate Group, he used to be a team of 100 million in volume a year in Scottsdale, Arizona. And in 2016, him and I became friends, and he needed some coaching because he wanted to expand because he has a very unique model. His model was his friend at Quicken, who grew up the corporate ladder at Quicken, eventually became one of the execs of Quicken, and told Jason, hey, we get a ton of leads at Quicken for people who don't have an agent, who actually just got pre-qualified first. And we like, do you need an agent? And we're gonna just give you all of those clients of ours for the entire state of Arizona, and you just give us a 25% referral fee. And Jason was like, done. And why can Quicken legally get a referral fee? Because when RESPA shut down joint ventures and you could no longer have an in-house lender at a real estate office paying to be there. There was no more MSA agreements or anything. Quicken just said, well, we'll just open an entity that is a brokerage. We're not going to produce, but now we can legally flow the leads into that brokerage, and then that brokerage can refer it out to agents from any brand. So when Jason saw the success that Quicken was having with it, Jason said, well, what would stop me from teaching any organization how to do this? So he goes to AAA, creates the same agreement, teaches them how to go and become a brokerage entity in another entity corporation that AAA is the mother company for. And once again, now gets all of their leads from AAA. Aflac, the VA, United States VA affairs, all VAs, any state he opens. He now is in 16 states. 16 states. He only has 523 agents nationally in those states altogether, and they will do $3.2 billion in volume by December 31st this year with 500 agents. So we are going to a B2B business. We are going to, the more you network with local organizations here, not even who you're going to give a referral fee to, because you're not even going to teach them that, but to get on their list of who you are and who they can provide their clients to, their employees to. Watch what happens in our business in 2023 as B2B continues to just blow up. Economic shifts, recession. I am 100% certain that there will be a recession in 2023. I would be absolutely shocked if there's not. And I don't think this is going to just be a little one. I think we're going to see a significant recession. Everything is pointing to it. All of these jobless claims that we're seeing right now, it's white noise. It's all coming after the holidays. Of course, jobless claims are going to be low going into the holidays right now. They always are. But look at the layoffs that are happening with massive organizations. You're going to start to see that in Q1 and Q2 in earnings reports, and that's when our recession will start. And it could very well last a good year. It's just we don't think of prospecting and lead generation as important as a 2-hour listing presentation. But it's actually what gets us the 2-hour listing presentation to begin with, the appointments. Social media dominance. As it continues to dominate, and what's happened just since the pandemic, just since COVID started, how virtual we have become and reliant on social media marketing, advertising, targeting, building relationships, prospecting, branding. Everything we do is online now. Well, Tony, yeah, I've read your book, or yeah, I've gone to social media classes. I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Google. I do pay-per-click. I'm all for it. Great. But now the next evolution is video, as he was saying and sharing. Video is everything. So if you do not take video seriously right now, Reels on TikTok, Reels on Instagram, sharing stories on Instagram, sharing stories on Facebook. Because I know a lot of you post real estate stuff on social media, right? Who has social media here that posts things about your real estate, your listings, your closings, your solds, your testimonials? Of course you do. You have to these days. Well, the next evolution is making sure it's a video. It's not a long paragraph that you wrote. It's not an MLS IDX link feeding in from the MLS into your Facebook business page that has 1 like. And yet you have 1,000 followers on your Facebook business page, and why do I only have 3 likes on my MLS listings? It's because Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of these companies are hiding anything that is not video in the newsfeed. It is so far down in least priority to these new algorithms because they're trying to push video. And we're not talking about uploading high production, perfectly shot videos. That's important too. They serve a purpose. We're just talking about getting in front of your phone and expressing yourself and having the right equipment so it looks good. And you got a ring light in your office, and you know that you should never live stream outside in the middle of a sunny day. Right? Yeah. Not just because of that, wrinkles. Right? But the morning sun, walking on the sidewalk in downtown State Street, just saying, hey everybody, did you know Santa Barbara is known for this? And getting in the habit of branding yourself online with video. Because if you don't, I'm telling you right now, no one is going to see anything you're posting moving forward. It's already started. So create a habit, and if you see that next presentation that I do up here is the evolution of the virtual agent, it goes deep into video marketing and how to do it correctly and how to make your videos go viral for more exposure in the Santa Barbara area. Misled salespeople. More than anything, I am seeing so many national presidents of the biggest brands you can think of right now who are talking to their 20,000, 2,000, 5,000 attendees at these national conferences, not saying online dominance of Zillow. They don't want anybody to know it's the guy from Netflix and the guy from Expedia. No. Oh yeah, our technology is better than Zillow. Every real estate brand is a technology company now. It's hilarious to me. We sell houses. That's what we do as real estate companies. But they're all just trying to figure out who's ahead of the game, who's better than the other. At the end of the day, our salespeople are being misled by their own companies. So what we have to do as salespeople when we're goal setting and preparing for 2023 is our own research, doing our own Googling, really studying what's happening, watching CNBC every single morning starting at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. I have it on in my living room. I have it on in my kitchen. I have it on at the gym. I have it on in my car when I'm driving on Sirius and XM, the CNBC channel. And just in an hour every morning, the knowledge you can learn so that you realize what's really happening and not maybe listening to what the hearsay is in the office.
The fluff.
The fluff. It's fluff. Okay, so one of the slides that I showed in Shift Happens a couple months ago was historic housing price index of the United States. Now it's only going back to about 1988, 1987, but if you could continue this line for 30 more years, it would do the same thing. Real estate goes up for about 10 years and flattens. Real estate goes up for about 10 years and flattens. Always during a recession. So silver vertical line is recession and how long it lasted. And so this was the 1990 crash. That was a crash. See that? Yeah, that's a crash. That's what they called it. They called it a crash before 2009. But after 2009, they no longer called that a crash. They called it a shift, a housing correction, a flattening of the market during an economic shift, which is historically what it has always done. So then it stays flat, and then it just slowly starts to go up for a decade. And everybody in the late 2000s, when I became a mortgage broker, or the early 2000s, because I became a mortgage broker in 98 right here. So right here, when I bought my first place, and I started wondering, should I get into flipping because I'm making all this money in lending and I'm successful, so maybe I should start buying real estate? Seasoned agents in this business, right here, were telling me, Tony, don't buy property. Like, there's a shift coming. I was like, what's a shift? Like, I didn't know what they were talking about. They're like, every 10 years, recession starts, market's gonna flatten, so it's probably not a good time to start flipping a property. I'm like, okay. If you're gonna hold the property, it's okay. There's never a bad time to buy. There's only a bad time to sell. So if you're looking to sell in a bad time, you probably don't wanna be buying flips right now. And you're probably significantly gonna see a drop in your income. Great, thanks for scaring me to death. So, every 10 years, historically, there's the dip, and right here, that's the next dip. Recession going into 01. But it didn't dip, did it? And not only did it go up for the first time in 100 years during a recession, economic recession, it skyrocketed right out of there. Why? What did I say happened right here? September 11th, the birth of the fake housing market. So now, because of what the government's doing, oh, go buy a house, forget about the war. You know, don't worry about it. Forget about the terrorist attack. The American dream is reborn. Interest rates, neg-am loans. Anybody can qualify. Stripper who has a business card can own 3 homes, right? And all the way, fake, 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 because of government and regulation and what they were allowing to do, instead of letting the market just correct itself like it normally does. So when the consumers were finally fed up, like, this cannot keep happening. This is crazy. Sound familiar? This is insane. How can people afford these houses and prices and paying 10% over asking? So then the market finally is able to do its own correction. And what does it do? The market will always correct itself all the way down to what shouldn't have happened. So what shouldn't have happened was the last couple years right here. So when it shifted, it kind of just went and just kind of corrected that. But here, it had to correct itself all the way down to here. But the trend line is here. So here we go. Let's say it had dipped, stayed flat like it was supposed to, and then it would have gone up again. Boom, look at that. So the market corrected itself to what shouldn't have happened. Then we stayed down, 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 and then our market came back. Right? But then right here in 2018 and 19, several areas in the United States started to shift. Look at that flat line actually going down for the first time. And in 18 and 19, we were hearing people talk about the shift. Oh, there's a shift. Like, there's definitely something slowed down in 18 and 19. But then the beginning of 2020 happens. And what happened? The pandemic. Is the pandemic the cause of this insanity?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
The government is.
yeah.
The government is. See, the pandemic tried to cause a recession, but it was a blink of an eye. And for the first time in history, did we go into a decade in a bull market, in the stock market, and finish the decade still in a bull market and a strong economy. For the first time ever in history. So then the pandemic happens, and the government says, hey, don't worry. You don't have to sell your house. Well, I can't make my mortgage payment. Yeah, don't worry about that. We're going to tell all the banks and mortgage companies they can't foreclose on you. Great. And hey, tenants, you don't have to worry about being evicted because none of the landlords can kick you out. So there's that many less houses on the market. You're welcome. And now we're going to take interest rates from already an astronomically low 3.9 all the way down to 1.9 legitimate actual interest rate, so that now 20 people can qualify per one property on the market, and we should be fine. So we get the highest trajectory in the history of housing ever to happen. And once again, it's because of who? Government regulation not allowing the market to correct itself. So the last time we shifted and the market had to correct itself for what shouldn't have happened, what happened? So I personally think that there is a very high likelihood in 2023 going into 2024 that we could see the market correct itself all the way back to 2021 pricing. 20%, 25%. The national average has been 44% since the pandemic started. But again, I don't think it can go all the way back But these people who are like, I think it's just going to stay flat. I think we're going to have a strong housing market, but there's going to be some deals. And what's funny is these are the same people who went through 08, 09 with me. And I hear them talking this way again. And I'm like, did you not learn anything? They're spending money, they're buying stupid stuff. It's just crazy to me. So I hope it doesn't. But historically, the last time the government had something to do with something that shouldn't have happened, it corrected itself halfway. And we could very well see that halfway. So, do I want you to think it's going to happen? No, I just want you to be prepared. Is it better to prepare for the worst or hope for just something easy? I'm prepared for the worst and how I'm going to take advantage of it. How would I do that? Because right there on my business plan, contacting the biggest banks and mortgage servicers in the United States and getting on their asset management preferred agent list for REOs and short sales. Do I think there are going to be short sales from people who bought in 2020? No. 2019? No. Nothing before 2020. But people who bought a year ago, who lose their job, guys, this is what 04, 05, 06 did. So we could see a lot of this.
I see what you mean, but when we're how you explain that and with the government involvement, because we rose so high, it's going to be steeper.
It's going to be what?
A steeper recession.
Yeah.
But it's not, because we're not going to sell our houses. We're locked in below 3, you know?
Right, exactly.
And,
So the people who can hold out, the people who can keep that mortgage going, they're not going to sell. And we're in a housing inventory crisis. I know that. So there's still plenty of people who can afford a home, and there's not a lot of houses on the market. But there's been, anybody want to guess? I don't know what Santa Barbara is, but does anybody want to guess the national per NAR average in the increase in listings
20.
in the last, like, I think it's 4 months now? 5 months. The average is 18% increase. I've heard of markets that have had a 40% increase in listings, and I've heard of markets that have only had a 5% increase in listings. And then everybody's trying to scramble like, you know, you're not doing as much business. And I go, well, what's your market increased in listings? We've increased by 20%. Okay, so then how do you personally not have 20% more in listings in your own business? If your market has increased, why haven't you? What's happening? Are you not preparing for this? Are you not maybe putting in new things in your day-to-day actions that will help you get through this? You only have 4 things you can control. You only have 4 things that you can control. Children only have 3. It's one of the things I teach my kids in school. You know, with all the problems that we see in school today and danger that we see in school, is I say you have 3 things you can control. But adults, we have 4 things we can control. Effort. You can control your effort, right? No one makes you less putting in the effort. The only people who have control of that is you. Focus. Attitude towards everything, right? Now this is where my kids are, right here. So when something happens, if you're bullied, if something goes down, if you don't like what's happening in your world, you are in control of effort, focus, and attitude. So if you're having a bad attitude, you're giving someone else control of your attitude. If you're not working hard to get A's, you're giving someone else control of your effort. You're in control of these 3 things. Never give it to somebody else. But the one thing they're not in control that we as adults are our choices. We make choices for our children, right? Sometimes they don't like them. They're in control of some of their choices, but usually their choices are for what they can control. I choose to have a good attitude. I choose to be focused. I choose to have great effort. But my parents choose, you know, that stupid t-shirt that they want me to wear for the first day of school or whatever that is, right? But we are in control of our choices. Well, this always leads me to this statement then. If you are not where you want to be in life, or you're not achieving the huge goals that you want to achieve in your life, it is because you are giving someone else control of one or more of those things. Period. A little graphic that I do for it. You're giving someone else control of either one, two, or hopefully not all of them, but hopefully you're not even giving anyone control of the only 4 things you can control. So when you start to think this way in your business planning and goal setting, it changes the way you structure it. It changes the way you look at your calendar and how you time block and the things or the people that you allow to take you away from your most important work that actually leads to productivity. Where in life can we set goals? So tonight, when you're doing it, or in the next couple days when you get the template from him, we always think just business, right? We set goals for business, but there's so many different facets in our life that we set goals, financial and business. What's the financial side of it? Your income. Obviously, you want to set goals for income, but what about savings, right? It's not just income. It's increasing profits, reducing expenses, acting as a CFO in your own life, right? And really understanding that part of our business and P&L, because the more you understand that, the more you can put it into your goal planning so that in 2023, not only are you making an income goal, you're making a savings goal, liquid asset goal, talking to a financial advisor, or getting a new financial advisor who's not working for you. And then, of course, our business goals. Health, our physical health, our nutrition, self-belief. That's in my goals on the sheet that I'm going to show you. If I'm going to make this much money in 2023, I'm going to close this many deals, I'm going to do this, this, and this, I already know that strategy number 1 is I better take care of myself. So from this time to this time, every single morning, I'm at the gym. And then strategy number 2, below that, make sure you start eating healthy. No more coffee and donuts in the morning where you crash, an hour later. I'm going to have to put physical goals in my actual business goal. Love, relationships, right? People set goals for that in their life. But that also can actually intertwine in my business goals. Is if I'm going to do this and I'm going to be implementing these things, I need to prepare my wife, I need to prepare my children, I need to make sure I get them on board of my undistracted prospecting time, that I'm no longer going to, be able to take advantage of a hot market, right? People have been pounding down our doors for the last 2 years. Well, good grief, 10 years it seems now, but definitely in the last 2 or 3 years, right? It's crazy what happened. All you had to do is go to an event and just say you were an agent. And the swarm came. I need to buy a house. I need to get a house. I need to sell my house. I need to upgrade. I want to buy a second home. I want an Airbnb. But now, as we go into a recession, it's going to slow and the activity is going to reduce. So we have to increase our activities in finding those deals. Spiritual, faith, whatever you believe, right? Setting spiritual goals in our life. Meditation. I never believed in it, never did it until several years ago, and finally just started, at least when I was surfing. It's my thing to do, pass the break before I surf as I get way out there, and I just sit there for about 30 minutes before I then continue on and do a little surf sesh. So spirituality, faith. What are common business goals? Because that's what we're going to be giving you. That's what you're going to write out for 2023. Income always seems to be the number one thing people put, is their gross commission, GCI. What do I want to make in 2023? Does everybody have this already? At least in your head? What you want to make? Total volume. You can be more specific with in addition to the income, put what you want to do in volume as a goal. Transactions, total units that you want to close, or sides, if you will. Growth, your organization, your team. No one succeeds alone. So if I'm going to do all this and I'm going to be working harder and time blocking more to compensate for a slowdown in activity, then I'm not going to have time to do these things, which means I might even have to staff up or staff for the first time, or at least get a VA in the Philippines to handle a lot of behind the curtain stuff online for me so I can dedicate more time to my highest and best use, which is what as salespeople? Prospecting, deepening relationships. Everyone in this industry constantly says the hardest thing to do in our business is lead gen. Lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. Prospecting, prospecting, prospecting. Making my calls, make my calls. And it's always called the hardest. Nobody wants to do it. When in actuality, literally the easiest thing to do. It's the opposite. Getting a lead in our industry is literally the easiest thing to do. I could walk into Starbucks with 15 people standing, waiting for their coffee, with all of them with their head down. They're not praying. We already know that. They're on their phone, right? And I could literally just blurt out, hey everybody, if you know somebody getting ready to sell their house who you could introduce me to, your coffee's on me. And I guarantee you, law of averages, random person in that group is going to go, my brother just said he's probably going to sell his house soon. Tall, skinny vanilla latte, please. It's just a matter of asking for the business. It's just a matter of calling people. The hardest thing to do in our business is conversion. Getting that lead and converting it to an actual closing. That's the hardest thing to do in our business. But getting the lead, cake. So I have to time block to do what? Deepen relationships with my sphere. Why? Because conversation equals conversion. The more we converse, the higher rate we convert. Remember that. Expansion, locations, new markets, just depends. You know, if you love just selling Carpinteria and you never sell Santa Barbara. No, Tony, I sell Santa Barbara. Do you sell Goleta? Yeah, I'll sell Goleta. How about Gaviota? Occasionally, like if I'm going to go out that far. Would you do a $2 million ranch in Lompoc? That's getting a little far. Would you like to turn it down or just get a referral fee? I'd like to get a referral fee. Would you like to get 50? Yeah. Well, then why don't you partner with an agent, say you'll help with some of the marketing and do a 50-50 co-listing. And now you're expanding into Lompoc. You can add that to your website. So some people have those goals to expand. Some people just want to stay in their condensed market. But if it's a goal, it should be in your business plan. Systems. Are you systematic? What time is it? I'm still on East Coast time on my watch.
3:31.
Okay, perfect. Is your business automated? As a coach, one of the worst questions people hear from me that they don't want to answer, it's hilarious. For every 20 agents I ask this question to, who I do a coaching consultation with, 19 say it immediately. I just say, what system or CRM management system do you use for your database? And 19 out of 20 say, such and such, such and such, such and such. Out of the 19 who say they have one and have systems in place and database and CRM, out of the 19, about 15 of them hate my next question. Great. What's the login and password to your CRM? Why do you want that? Just to see how you're using it. What drip campaigns you have set up. Do luxury clients that you've closed get the same emails that entry-level clients get? Because those luxury clients don't want to see that content. And the luxury clients don't even want to see anything about housing in Santa Barbara. They want you to send them content about yachts and the Rob Report and travel. Why? Because wealthy people already follow housing. They already follow CNBC. They're business savvy people. They don't need to know that stuff from us. Do you have out-of-area agents that you send content to remind them that you're the Santa Barbara contact? People from Seattle and San Francisco and Portland, Oregon and Utah? Like, do you have a huge amount of out-of-area real estate agents that you send content to, different than what you send to your client base? Local referral sources, CPAs, financial advisors, business planners? Trip campaigns, do you have notes? Well, I see that you've made notes. Do you have pings and calendar reminders set up? And out of the 15 who hate that question, then there's about 3 to 4 out of the 20 who are like, yeah, here's my login and password. Go for it. And almost always are they all in the top 10% in production in their market when I see just how impressive their database is. So, are you systematic? Are you taking the time to take a step back, knowing you need to create better systems and automate your business and get drip campaigns set up? I know it's tedious. I know it's just like, ugh. But a lot of the time we're not taking it seriously, and the number one place to get business from is our database and sphere. It works better than any other form of marketing ourselves and getting business. But it takes systems. You can't do it alone. Marketing, brand awareness. So how well do you do it? And in 2023, do you feel like you need to put that in your goal? I need to increase my marketing in clever ways. Or I need to stop spending, on average, what every real estate agent in the United States spends on average every month, $531. Anybody want to guess? Gourmet coffee. Starbucks. $500 a month. $10 coffee, $7 coffee, every single day. Start adding it up. Oh, you want us to bring in a couple coffees? Oh, you bought coffee for your client? Oh, you bought coffee for this person? Oh, you needed a sandwich that day? Oh, you needed a wrap? You will be shocked how quickly, and you might not even want to look in your statements and see how many Starbucks transactions there are. So do I need to go and buy a coffee maker and say, you know what, I'm going to give it up, besides an occasional client meeting, and I'm going to take the 400 or 300 or 700, mine's 920 on average at Starbucks, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to throw it into better marketing, online, targeting ads. So marketing, brand awareness should be in your business plan. And then last but not least, setting benchmarks. This is the worst one for me. It's the one thing I hated doing. My coach, I have 3 coaches, but my main coach, who's been my coach for years, who finally actually got me to do these setting goals and writing them down, she always would say, so when are you going to achieve that goal by? Like, it's 2023. Yeah, but if you're going to achieve that in 2023, shouldn't you have then a monthly breakdown of it? So divide that now by 12. So what are you going to do to achieve it by the end of January 31st? Because come February 1st, if you're not on target, you're already behind. We have to set ourselves benchmarks because that actually makes us work harder to do it. If your benchmark is so far out, I need to make $300,000 in 2023. So by December 31st, I want to hit my goal. Then you're going to keep going through the year thinking, oh, I still have 8 more months, 7 more months, 6 more months, 5 more months. But if you break that down to at least quarterly, it changes things in setting those benchmarks. All right. Creating an effective business plan. Number 1, what is your main objective goal in 2023? That's what you're going to do. And I'm going to show you the template that he'll email you. What are 3 goals that you will need to hit in 2023 in order to achieve the number 1 goal? So let's say it's income, and now I have to set 3 goals below it of if I'm going to hit that number, I have to hit this, I have to do this, and I have to increase this type of thing. And then after you do those 3 smaller goals, number 3 on the template is now what strategies do you need to implement in order to achieve each of those 3 goals? and you're going to do 5 strategies. So here's what the template looks like. This is what you're going to get all emailed to you. It is a Word doc form. Now, my business planning clinic, the workbook is like 15 pages in my coaching to build it all out. I'm trying to simplify it today and just give you guys a simple goal writing, goal setting sheet called the 135. So as you write it all out, you're going to get it. Up here, purpose, you're going to see on the template that he emails you, your big why. What's your why? Why do you wake up every morning? What motivates you? What fuels you? Your children, retiring early, being able to help people financially, physically, spiritually. Whatever your big why and reason for existing is, you're going to put that at the very top. Then, right here is the 1, your main objective. 250 grand in 2023, or 500 grand, or $1 million. Now, in order to achieve that, I'm going to need to build my leverage. It's maybe I do need to hire somebody or change the way I look at leverage. I'm going to need to increase more listings to my buyer ratio, higher level marketing and branding. You're going to write those 3 goals out, but you're going to need to give yourself a benchmark. So if it's build my leverage, by March 31st, I will have a VA in the Philippines that will leverage me better. Or I'm going to lay off someone who has been my admin because it's getting pricey and the activity's slower. But I'm not going to get rid of the leverage. I'm just going to get a VA who can do a lot of what she was doing for me for half the price. Now you're going to write out these. Now here's the beauty behind this thing. I don't want you writing 1 sentences like this. These boxes will move as you're filling them out. They'll get bigger and bigger automatically. So the more you write and give yourself a benchmark in these 3 boxes, then now you're going to drop down and you're going to write 5 long paragraph strategies, and it'll go into page 2 automatically for each of the 3 goals. So 5 strategies to achieve that, 5 strategies to achieve this, 5 strategies to achieve that, benchmarks, all the different things that we've been talking about. Here's an example of, kind of what's in the business planning clinic. Online presence. I need to have better online presence in order to hit 45 transactions, my 1 main objective. So 5 strategies: set up and or update all social media network profiles, establish general action plan for communication on each network, create personal landing page linking AI social media networks, or all social media networks, complete 4 agent websites, sellers, buyers, blah, blah, blah. You're writing down the strategies now to achieve that. But this is what he's going to email you guys. The only difference that you'll see when you get the email is the top, instead of it being called purpose, it says your big why. Write out your big why. But it's a Word doc form, so as soon as you download it, run with it. Okay, in conclusion, yes, I'm a coach. I own a coaching company called Rise. Rise stands for Relevant, Innovative Skill Enhancement. I am very passionate about the word skill enhancement. I always have been. What are we doing to enhance people's skill sets, both natural and the ones that make us get out of our comfort zone? I am not your typical coaching company that you've all heard of before. Babysitting coaching. How many calls did you make this week? Okay, how are we going to overcome that hurdle next week and get to your 100? Here's an expired script. Go get them, Tiger. It's skill enhancement. And sometimes it can be intense because I require a lot of my coaching clients to implement these strategies. And it gets them out of their comfort zone. But man, does the ROI make them feel a lot better about it. I don't like to sell from the stage. I don't show anything about my pricing or anything. I just tell people, yes, I'm a coach. And if you have questions about my platform, just see me afterwards and I'll give you a link and where you can get a discount and stuff like that to get access to everything. Q&A.
Looking a little forward past 2023, where do you see AI replacing us?
Oh, yeah. That is the presentation I was doing last week in Miami at a crypto conference of all things. But I speak on crypto. I speak on the fact that blockchain is intertwining with real estate. But it's these new AI platforms that are literally bypassing the need of an agent in fractional real estate ownership. What it is there are already companies and they are on the blockchain that I have invested. And I can literally go in. First, I just buy my crypto, and then it's inside their website. And then it says $1.3 million Boston condo. Beautiful, Boston condo, $1.3 million. The tokens to have part ownership are $50 a token. Well, then I'm going to buy 100 tokens. And now I have that small fractional share interest of this real estate with no mortgage involved, no interest rate involved. The company who owns the majority of that property, that has the rights to make decisions and stuff like that, they own the property. You're just becoming a shareholder of the property. So I see AI for a particular thing in the world of real estate investing replacing the agent. The one thing I don't see ever will happen, or it'll take a long time for it to happen, is there not being a need for an agent to market a beautiful property in order to reach the masses and sell that property. And it's because in the beautiful state of California, this one bad thing about us is actually the greatest thing to make sure that we're not going anywhere. We are the most litigated state in the United States over New York for the most lawsuits with real estate transactions. We're the most litigated real estate transaction state. So how many of us in the last decade are becoming more and more like attorneys? We're having to learn things we've never had to learn, disclosures, compliance officers, way more than we used to. So that will always be a need. And marketing a certain high-end property, there will always be a need. Do I feel like we're going to do less? Yes. So do I feel like our commission is going to continue to drop as it has over the last 15 years on the national average? Yes. But if technology and AI get a seller and a buyer to find each other on their own, right? And they come to terms, and then they just need somebody to oversee the paperwork as an advisor to the transaction and protect them with the right disclosures for a 1.5% fee. Like, I'd rather have 20 transactions a month where I just oversee the paperwork for 1.5% each than 5 listings that I'm doing all of the open houses, showing the property, using all my resources, energy and time with the hope that eventually I find the buyer for it. So I just think that if you see that things are changing, just embrace the change, knowing that take advantage of it. Be one of those people who get on some preferred list of need an agent, or if your brokerage doesn't allow it, move brokerages to a brokerage that is adapting to these new things with AI. I don't want to name brands, but there's only really, I would say, 2 main brands that are crushing everyone with the evolution of technology in our business and are doing a lot of things with blockchain and AI on their back ends and stuff like that. So I know all the companies say they do, but I've seen every back end. I coach every brand. There's not a brand that I don't have a coaching client from, and I have to know the back end in order to teach those agents how to use it better. And so I hope that answered your question. I just see AI continuing to find its way into real estate investing with no need for an agent at that point, but I don't see that happening to the widespread, just day-to-day transactions that the real estate industry does when people are just buying a property, not fractionally, not with AI. They need an agent to represent them.
Tony, before you take more questions, I'm going to stop you, Jen, if I can. If you would go out in the front room and take questions out there from
Sure.
people.
Yeah, let's get out.
We're just done. Please, a round of applause.
Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I do have more than 1 or 2 just to go through here with you really quickly. This was the hardest subject. We got 80 people registered, 18 people showed up. The next one we do is in January. We have the easiest subject, which is no subject at all. It's a straight mixer. So there won't be any speakers. It'll just be music and wine or drinks and food and networking. So it's the other woman, which is a band with 2 realtors in it, Steve Epstein and one of his cohort, are going to play for us, and it's January 19th. It's later. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. So I know some of you won't be able to come, but please consider coming to that. And actually, if you'd like to come to that, you can scan that. That'll register you for that event. And then please go out in front, have some wine, have some food, enjoy yourself. We have to be out of the facility at 4 o'clock, relatively sharp. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming. See you out front.